Here's a recap of what we've covered. You started by exploring the idea of the best pet, looking at dogs, horses, and cats from practical and spiritual angles. The debate about dogs being sacrificial companions led you to reflect on their true role as protectors and the limitations of that idea, especially when compared to the way they're sometimes idealized.
Alright, so today I don't have a topic that is much relevant to what I usually talk about. And so I decided to make use of ChatGPT in order to reflect more on what I'm thinking about the topic. So there was a time where you could write down what you're thinking and then come back to what you wrote down and get further inspiration from it. Now you can talk to AI and have it spit different things based on what you just said and the internet. And so, as this is the introduction of this video, you can see that I prompted ChatGPT to follow along while I'm making a video and inspire me in case it finds something to say. The topic of this video then is going to be about what's the pet to choose in 2025, and mainly I'm going to distinguish between dogs, cats, and horses, and this was inspired from a Facebook post where people are having debates on whether it's the cats that are the better pets, or the horses, or the dogs. And I forgot to click in order for ChatGPT to know the context, but again, and it was specifically the argument that dogs would give their life to you, contrary to other animals, and that's what makes them the best type of companion. This is not the right way to look at it, because first of all, there's many animals that give their life to humans every day, and mainly the industry of meat. For instance, and just so that I put you in context, if I had a friend that would die from me, I would actually stay away from that friend because I don't want them dead. You spare them the hassle of dying for you. So let's write something. Horse, cats, dogs. Practicality. Dogs are for security and for guarding your place. This will be especially useful if you're living in an area where it's far away from civilization and there's no police around. Man, this is actually a difficult topic. I think that I'm going to abort it. Okay, so ChatGPT gave me some inspiring words. I don't know how it did manage to do that. Practically speaking, horses get you from point A to point B. Cats. I would assume that cats have practical reasons too, even though many times they're portrayed as lazy and don't care about your well-being and so on. It's true that cats are indifferent, but there's things that they do, and practically if you have a big house, you know that they can keep snakes and spiders away from the house. That's a good thing. And they're also very clean compared to the other type of animals. Now, one other thing, I'm gonna look on the internet a comparison between dogs and horses for people on forums or real life, what do people prefer? Is it that they prefer, I mean, people that own both dogs and horses, which is their favorite? And I'm speculating that it's going to be their horses, and I will tell you why later. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that live, and maybe I'm gonna be faced with a argument that is opposite to what I'm trying to make here. Okay, so I can't seem to find a straight person with both dogs and horses directly from the internet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the conversation with ChatGPT and then ask it to search for that on the internet. Okay, so since I think that you would be more useful as a participant in the conversation, can you say why is there horseshoes in many cultures in front of doors? And that's so that I can bring the esoteric.
Horseshoes are often seen as symbols of good luck and protection in many cultures. The tradition of hanging them above doors is believed to ward off evil spirits and bring good fortune to the home. In some cultures, it's also tied to the idea of the horseshoe's crescent shape, representing the moon and its protective qualities. Have you seen this tradition in a particular culture?
No, I just thought of that as a comparison between dogs and horses. So, dogs are said in Islam to chase off angels, and maybe you could, if you don't believe in the woo type of things, you could at least attribute that these are vibrations or frequencies that a dog spots, whereas other we as humans don't pay attention to. So I would believe that cats are indifferent to that type of stuff. So if you dress up as a ghost or something, I don't think that you can scare your cat. And so comparing that to a horse, I think that a horse would get scared and run for its life, whereas a dog would bark for the slightest thing. And so this is taking into consideration the spiritual aspect of things which I usually do on this channel.
That's an interesting angle. You're comparing how different animals react to perceived threats, both physical and spiritual. Dogs' heightened sensitivity and instinct to protect could be seen as a form of alerting to energies, while cats' indifference could reflect their more relaxed nature. Horses, with their flight response, might be more in tune with sudden changes around them, including energetic shifts.
Yeah, and also one of the things that I notice about people who hang around or that have horse riding as an activity is that they have a different mindset. It's like a cleansing and a how do I describe it? It's a good activity. And I already talked about the three activities that were favored in Islam, which are archery, and swimming, horse riding, these three, and how they each one of them link into flow state. And the thing about horse hanging around, or how do I put it? I put it as if horses are friends, really. But this is the question. It's when you get so close to an animal, should it be a horse or a dog or a cat in the first place? And that's what we're trying to answer here. Horses, they have a certain it's as if you're walking barefoot after a long time. Imagine your life being stressful and then you're around horses. It's a different experience after that. The major thing to take from this is if you're going to hang out with someone, a friend for instance, and it's in this case a pet that you consider to be your friend. If your energy is raised up above what it was prior to it, it doesn't matter if that friend is indifferent or aware of your existence to begin with. So if a horse isn't going to be ready to die for you, then it's still a good friend, a good pet, uh, just by mere fact of them being positive creatures.
That's a powerful point you're making. The value of a pet or a companion isn't necessarily about sacrifice or direct loyalty, but the positive energy they bring into your life. It's about how they help elevate your state of being, even if they're indifferent to the deeper spiritual concepts. Whether it's the calming presence of a horse or the unwavering energy of a dog, each can be a good friend based on how they contribute to your life. The horseshoe symbol captures this idea too, bringing good fortune just by being around.
So yeah, can you provide a recap of what we've talked about so that I can figure out if I still should mention something?
Here's a recap of what we've covered. You started by exploring the idea of the best pet, looking at dogs, horses, and cats from practical and spiritual angles. The debate about dogs being sacrificial companions led you to reflect on their true role as protectors and the limitations of that idea, especially when compared to the way they're sometimes idealized. You discussed how different animals have unique qualities, horses being calming and grounding, offering a deeper connection to nature, while dogs are more energetic, protective, and loyal. Cats were highlighted for their low maintenance, independent nature, useful for pest control, but less emotionally engaged in the same way. You also brought up the spiritual aspect, contrasting dogs' heightened sensitivity to their surroundings and even spiritual energies with the more indifferent or relaxed nature of cats. Horses, with their flight response, are deeply connected to their environment, but in a different way. You tied this into the idea of flow state, noting that activities like horse riding can be transformative, helping people reset their minds and energy. The main takeaway seems to be that the bond between humans and animals isn't about sacrifice, but rather how animals, like horses, can elevate our energy, even if they're not actively engaging with us on a deeper spiritual level. The horseshoe example symbolized how these animals can bring positivity into our lives. As for anything that could be added, maybe you could touch on how the environment plays a big role in the pet choice. Horses need a lot of space and can be more challenging to keep, while dogs and cats might be more accessible to a wider range of people. But overall, it feels like you've captured a lot of thoughtful ideas here.
So this video wasn't 100% organized, but I I think that you got the point from what I was trying to articulate. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.